As little as 30 years ago, DNA evidence was not admissible in court, but today the DNA of millions of people is accessible online.
And that has made the search for a lot of people who are looking for their real family even easier. But as Fox 40's Doug Johnson shows us tonight, while some find exactly what they're looking for, others discover family connections they didn't even know were there.
How do you know who you truly are? For most, discovering yourself means looking back at who your family is and where they came from. But for some, it's not always that easy.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
Throughout his life, Stefan Tahi never had a reason to doubt who his parents were. And then 4 years ago,
My father was close to die.
while his father was on his deathbed, Tahi's aunt came to him in tears.
And I said, why, what's going on? And she said, I need to tell you that your father is not your father.
The man he thought was his dad, the man who raised him, wasn't his real father. The story begins 53 years ago in Germany. Inga Geisel Tahi was just 17 when she became pregnant by an American soldier named Patrick.
My aunt said, it's really a love story because your mother really fell in love with this guy.
But Patrick was deployed to Vietnam and lost touch with Stefan's mom. Years later, Inga got married to the man Stefan thought was his father. But then, when Stefan was 13 years old, his mother was diagnosed with cancer. And on her deathbed, she asked her sisters to make a promise.
Don't tell my son that his father is not his father, because I don't want him to raise up with the feeling not having a real father and not having a mother anymore.
A promise that was kept for decades. The news left Stefan, who still lives in Germany and has 2 kids of his own, with a strong desire to find his real father. His aunts remembered he was from Napa, California. He says during his research, an Army official suggested he share his story with the Napa Valley Register.
General Google search, and I came across an article.
And that's how we met Nancy Collins.
Well, I'm an investigative genetic genealogist, which means that I actually use DNA to help people find relatives, to help them break down their brick walls, or to discover their ethnicity and ancestry.
Collins wanted to help Stefan and wanted to start by rebuilding his family tree. The two started with a clue one of his aunts had given him.
She didn't know, because she doesn't speak English, remembered that the last name was sounding like a German word, Pedroia, which means somebody who is helping you.
First name Jason, last name Pedroia.
Through a distant cousin she found on GED Match and a lot of sleuthing, Collins was able to track down Stefan's family, including his half-brother Jason Pedroia, who lives in Los Angeles.
I mean, I was surprised, shocked, but also had a couple reservations.
Since they met 3 months ago, Jason and Stefan speak almost daily. They formed a bond, both working as high-level company executives.
Talked about work, career, family life, travel, that sort of thing. So yeah, we have a lot in common.
Their father is still coming around to the idea of meeting Stefan and his family.
He said to Jason these days, he said, well, if I look at the pictures, he really looks like me.
Reunion Stefan is hoping will come this holiday season. In Sacramento, Doug Johnson, Fox 40 News.
And obviously he had a great ending in his search for his dad. That said, not everybody does have exactly what you'd expect to have happen coming out of those tests. Often people don't want to admit that they've had kids with somebody else, and all of that information comes out years and years later.
And sometimes people who set out to find their birth parents discover children they didn't know they had. Coming up tonight at 10, we're going to share one Sacramento man story on how that happened to him. A man is facing charges after authorities say he took